Hey guys, today's update, the new British lights and the graphics update, this 1.01, introduced one of the strangest tanks in the game, FE301. In my opinion, it's sort of like a comet. I mean, yes, it does make sense because it stems from the comet, but this tank has similar turret, similar speed. It has a similar feeling to a comet, but the only difference is it's a tier higher. Even the HP pool is the same, it's 1200. Now, personally, I kind of like this tank because it resembles the Comet, but I prefer the Comet more. Anyways, this is just the start of the line, and there are many tanks to come: Vickers CR and the Vickers Light. So I'll still go towards the line and check out how it's gonna work out. But I do have high hopes for this line. Alright, to start, I run the gun rammer, and that's all you need. Since you're not gonna be sticking to this tank, the gun rammer is that's it. That's all you need. The ammunition. Now, even though the penetration is very good, it's amazing for its tier. I run armor APCR with 23 shells. Now that's kind of questionable, but if you ask me, the difference between the alpha, between the two shells, the AP and the APCR shells, is just 30 penetration. And from what I've witnessed, you are not gonna waste all your armor piercing shots, even if there's like a 20 of them. You're not gonna use all of them. So I stack them in APCR in case I'm up tiered. Even though this tank does well up tiered. Now the provisions, I would say putting in T, especially that the crew is not fully upgraded. So I'm missing out on a lot, but then 10% crew boost is very good. 1 second. Now another thing is the camo. The camo is really good, especially that it's a light, so I would recommend running any camo, but if you have any spare camos that you can use that are free, I'd say use them on this tank because you're gonna save up a lot of cash and you would need it. So because I would recommend for the higher tier tanks to use that money, that saved credits, for the equipment. Alright. This is just the basics of the tank. Oh fuck. This is just the basics of the tank. Another thing is I missed out on pointing out is the gun depression. The gun depression here is 10 degrees, and that's more than enough. Especially playing on ridges and everything, it's perfect. Alright, I'm gonna show you guys 2 replays instead of 1. And I'm gonna show you a failed game and a success game which I won in. Now guys, take one note, that comet right there has more HP than I do. And this is the gun depression. And I think in a second I'll show you guys the gun elevation. It's more than enough. You can work magic with this. 4.8 second reload with 190 alpha is okay, but then the alpha, I'm not a fan of it. The 190 alpha in tier 8, that kinda sucks. I try to play in the ridge here because I'm not really sure how far I can go with the gun depression, and it doesn't go as far, but I do get a shot in the panther, which is good. Now I think I make a couple of mistakes in this match and I end up losing this match, but I do end up doing good amounts of damage. And the first mistake I'm doing is right now I'm going for a trade battle. I know I'm gonna win because I had more HP to start with, but I shouldn't have went for this fight because I've lost a good chunk of my HP with this tank. Yes, I've dealt 980 damage early on, but in my opinion, if you ask me, that wasn't worth it. Especially that I was left with barely any health. Again, I missed a couple of shots, but you couldn't blame the dispersion. The dispersion in this tank is fine. I load an HE shell, because I know, as long as I don't hit the turret spot, if it does splash damage, that's a 100% kill. And that's exactly what happens. Now, There's an AMX 5000 in my left, so I decided to take him on early on, and this is how well the dispersion works. You can shoot in the move, and that's what I love. You can go back and forward and take good shots. And the AMX 5000 missed a shot, which was convenient for me. Next target was Panther. I don't think I got a kill on him. I let the Borsig do the job. As far as I remember, the reload in Panther is much faster than the Vickers, than the FE1, crap, FE301. But I still won for the fight. I went back and forward, so I only should expose my turret, and the turret is pretty armored. It has decent armor, and there's a troll spot where if the enemy hits, it will be a guaranteed bounce. I saw that Panther had a little bit of health, and he was a one-shot to the Borzig, so I let him take the target, and that didn't work out well. Then I saw an SU-101, and this one, like, you can move fast back and forwards with this tank. So you can take shots like these with good accuracy and good speed, and you can just relocate easily and go back and cover. I did get shot by target 1 there, but I got lucky and survived. But this shot was disappointing. It didn't pan. But nevertheless, even if it did pan, I would have not won. The comet here is AFK, so that kinda sucked. But gladly, that's not the only match I played. There's another match I've played in a different map. Most of the maps I played actually was on Fort Despair for some reason. And I didn't really get to showcase how good the gun depression is. But I think this match I showed it quite well. This is like the first day of the lights being out and people already hate him. And I feel like the FE301 is alright, but the tanks that follow might get nerfed later on. And this is something that's casual with WG, fuck, how do you even say it? They did that with VK100 when it got released, they nerfed it to oblivion. They did that with Martian, they did that with Batchat, they did that with T92E1, with Sheridan. They're nerfing the tanks because when they release the tanks, they release it so good, like their stats are overcooked. And what do you know, the first shot in the entire match was to the guy who aids the lights. Now, this was very convenient for this tank because, see, I can get an easy bounce from that. I only should expose my turret, and although the bounce is not guaranteed, it still does happen once in a while. I didn't realize I was blocking the Helsing, but I do back up in a while. Now, long range distance is, I wouldn't recommend doing it, but this tank does well in long distance fights. But since you're a light tank, I would just say stick to the medium line and play with the medium tanks. Don't play as a medium tank, but play as a light tank that gives them support. And now you see that. I've noticed that Comet's looking back and called for help, which means there could be somebody around there, and I do peek and I spot a German Bulldog. But I was expecting him to peek forward, and that didn't happen, so I had to peek in myself, wait for the aim time to settle in, and take a shot. For me, the aim time is okay. It's a 190 alpha gun, but you would expect the aim time to be faster, especially like the T-34-2, which has like 3 seconds aim time. That's more than enough. In 3 seconds, you're fully zoomed in and ready to take a shot. This is like, I'm not sure how many seconds of aim time does this tank have, but it could have been better. Here I do kind of bad and I die. But somehow I do manage to get a bounce from an IS-3. That's a troll bounce. Those are the bounces you can get even in SP1. I tried to bait a shot. It did work, but I do not end up surviving and I die. Well, so much for that. What were my other teammates doing? Well, the IS-3 is just sitting there in the rock, doing nothing, having fun. The low, or how to even say it, is doing quite an alright job. We end up winning the match, and I think I get a second class, if I'm not wrong. Oh, I don't think it shows, does it? Yeah, there you go. I got a third class. Still, it's quite alright. Another thing I've noticed with this tank is that the credit coefficient is awful. You do not expect to make credits, so save up credits, like I said, because not only are you gonna lose credits in this tank, you're gonna need credits for the equipment in other tanks to come. And also, the modules are shared across tanks. I think this is from the 8015A, 8015, I think. Type A barrel, yeah, it is shared with the 8015, so I would recommend going up at least to 8015, because this tank is, I know 80 series is kinda whack, it sucks to play it, but the modules are shared. So if you wanna start a line and you're not already in the Cromwell or Comet and you want to get the British lights, I'd say go towards the British tank destroyer lines and go perpendicular. So once you reach the 8015, get the FE301, or if you want to do it that way, get the FE301, which will make it easier for you to play the 815. Actually, it's even an 87. Yeah. So in tier 7 you can get a gun that the British lights use in tier 8. That's alright. The engine, I'm not sure from where this engine is, but it's also shared, which is nice. It's convenient, especially once if you play other tanks and you already have like modules discovered for you, you save a lot of time and effort. So this tank is already almost maxed out for me because I have unlocked other tanks, so I'd recommend doing the same. Don't just go only towards this line, work with the other lines and just grind it up. And especially that there's going to be a lot of FE301s within the day of its release. Anyways guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.